Let's put the E in STEM. What does that look like in the classroom? First, I want to share with you a quote from the senior logistical engineer at Lockheed Martin. She holds a professional engineering degree as well as a doctorate in electrical engineering. And last week at Lockheed Martin, here's what she said. She said, not everybody will be an engineer, but everybody needs confident, creative thinking. I thought that was pretty cool, just for this person who has a lifetime of accomplishments in engineering, describing the key elements of engineering that everybody could use. This really hit with me because my two big words for engineering is confident and creative. Engineers typically think a little bit different than those of, let's say, like a mathematician. Mathematicians usually think in what's called a linear thought process. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's the truth. Not much thought process, not much worry about the answer, but they think more about the process. How did you get there? So here's a big takeaway from engineering that may already be known and may be used in a lot of different subjects. But here's the biggest thing that one of the conferences I went through this summer outlined as engineers needing to move on. They're the 4 C's: creative thinking, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. The last two, collaboration and communication, were what the man who was given one of the presentations later on in the day described to be the biggest failure of professional engineers: collaboration and communication. So I think the first point I want to hit is, what does an engineer look like in the classroom? I think it looks like we're learning to collaborate with one another. It means we're learning to work in groups. We're using that engineering design process to get our own thoughts down, to get our own journaling thoughts down, but then work with others and make compromises or collaborate to a better solution using everybody's idea. The second is communication. Public speaking skills are number one. A lot of engineers that are the major creative types that can work behind a computer for hours and produce beautiful things or design wonderful things can't communicate it very well, can't get their ideas across. So that's one thing that looks like in the classroom, is always practicing public speaking. You'll see that in the STEM blueprint as well. And that's something we do a lot in school, but it's also maybe that's something we do a lot at Rappaport. That's something we do a lot at school, is public speaking, but also producing those high risk and high value speaking terms, meaning bringing a community member in to be the judge, to give them feedback, to give them positive tips before they start. That's the communication that we're talking about, to be able to communicate the designs that are going up in that big wad of mess in the process of thinking what design is. The practical definition of engineering. I'm going to give you a 4-word definition. Engineering is creating something from nothing. By that definition, every one of our students has the capability of being an engineer. I think we push our students to be engineers because of the confident thinking skills that we are talking about. Alright, I'm stealing this idea from a conference I went down to at the Aggie T-STEM Center, but I loved it. Alright, here it is. Let the students do it their way. I put that quote up on the screen in one of the later videos, but if we let the students do it their way, for the first time, you won't build a box around their thought process. What does that mean? Well, in a practical situation for us, think about how upset you get when your boss won't let you do it your way. And I want you to think about it this way. What happens when your boss makes you do it their way? So when you let them do it their way first, you let them think, you let them creative and critically think, and then you can guide them by questioning and letting them defend their ideas to find the best way. That way you and the student are also collaborating and learning that collaboration between a boss-employee relationship. Because if you too early tell them how to do it, you'll build a box around their thinking to think, I have to do it this way. I have to do it to please my boss, and maybe not the best way. Alright, lastly I just wanted to share with you a little graphic that has the top greatest engineering achievements that you can kind of relate to in the design and how they've affected our community in Waco, our community locally, state, and national, and globally. You can find any of these graphics just doing a simple internet search.